So happy to be joined by one of the big winners at UFC 304, Modestas Bukauskas, who got his third round submission victory over Marcin Prachino, UFC 304, July 27. Modestas, how you doing? I bet pretty damn good after that victory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Feeling really good. Like I say, man, it was just it was a crazy experience, the whole thing, and I'm very fortunate how everything went. So yeah, it was good, man.
And you're known more as a knockout artist. I think your first submission win since 2018. I went back and looked. Was it nice to kind of show off a little bit more of the arsenal that you're very well-rounded fighter?
Yeah, well, it's mad because it was my first submission victory in the UFC and my first ever takedowns in the UFC. So, yeah, I was definitely able to showcase more of the skill set that I'd been working on. But what's funny is that my corner were just telling me only use it if it presents itself to you. Like, if you're doing well in the striking and things are going well, you don't really need to use it. But like, just let it blend, let it flow, let it be natural. Don't like force it. So I was lucky that actually, given the what was presented to me in the fight, allowed me just to let it flow as and when I needed to use it. And yeah, then in that case I was able to showcase a little bit. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
I got to ask, how is it fighting, with the time? Because obviously for the local fighters like yourself are on that time zone, it was early in the morning. Was that something you did in training where you would train maybe early in the morning, or how did you adjust for that? Because that must have been kind of a bummer as far as fighting on that card.
Well, I'm going to tell you two crazy things, actually.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. That's what we're here for.
Well, the first thing, obviously, is I just adjusted. And I thought it was very weird that none of the fighters during fight week were training at the times that they were fighting. I don't know. Maybe they did a different tactic. I don't know what they were doing. But I remember I was always training every single day because I thought I was going to be fighting around 1. So I sort of just trained around 12:31 every single day. But like, no one was in there around those sort of times, or I didn't hear anyone hitting pads, just leaving. Maybe they did. Maybe I just missed them. I don't know. But like, I didn't hear anything. But for me, I just literally just did that the week of. A lot of things changed, right? So I initially thought I was going to be the first fight on the card. So if that was the case, yeah, I just trained as normal because when I fought on Cage Warriors, I'd fight, 11 o'clock anyway. So it didn't really make a difference to me. I just did everything as normal. So I started out doing everything like that. And then when we got to the hotel, they told us, you're the first fight on the prelims. So I was like, okay, so just for this week, I'm going to train at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's around the time I'm going to fight. And then just to make matters worse, we literally, it got to fight day. So we had obviously the weigh-ins and everything. Everything went as smoothly as normal. I was sitting in my hotel room. So I was supposed to go downstairs to get picked up by the UFC at 10:15 p.m. I get a call at 9:15 and they're like, Modestas, I'm guessing you didn't hear about the card change. I was like, what do you mean card change? And they told me that I'd been moved from the first fight in the prelims to the last fight on the early prelims. So they said, Modestas, you and your team need to go downstairs right now. And I was like, I was lucky that me and my whole team were already in my room, just kind of just waiting, just chilling, just relaxing. And we just like at the click of a finger, we had to get all our stuff and get shipped off to the arena. So that was a bit of a mad one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I literally thought I was gonna have to leave later, and then I ended up having to leave earlier. But it kind of worked out better anyways, because I would have much rather get the fight done earlier as opposed to wait. But still, it was very hectic just because there was so many different sort of time changes. So I couldn't necessarily prepare for it all that great. So I just had to just kind of go and do it,
Yeah, well, you obviously did better than others because you at least did your training, like you said, at different times, or at least anticipated it. So that's at least getting ahead of the curve. Were you able to celebrate after the win? Because again, with the time and everything, and just having to wait around and stuff, like take me through that, because it's not like that fight a couple fights ago where I know the club closed. This is much different, right?
Yeah, I remember we got back to the hotel and I told like all of my close friends that were at the arena, because a lot of them, they were just there to see me. So they said, okay, we're going to come back to the hotel now. So I think it was like 2:30, maybe close to like 3 o'clock in the morning. And we saw that there was still like loads of people out in Manchester. So my friend at first was trying to get us into some clubs, but I was just like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling this club vibe. Do you know what I mean? I just want a nice, like, chilled out, like, maybe 1 or 2 drinks just back at the hotel. I said, I'm not about to be going to this club with all these drunk people. Like, I'm not for that right now. Do you know what I mean? And then we literally, just got back to the hotel, and luckily they were still serving the whole night. but as long as you serve it to the room. So we basically I got all my group of friends, all my corner, all my team, and we just went up to the room and just had a couple of drinks. We had to watch the fights on like an iPad or a computer, and then yeah, pretty much that was the night. I remember a lot of my friends ended up going to sleep, and then I ended up going back to my room and watching the fights with one of my close friends and my dad till about 6 obviously where the time it finished, and then we all went to sleep. So it wasn't exactly much of a wild one, but I'm sure I'll at least make up for that one of these weekends coming up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What did you think of those two fights? Obviously, the big one, obviously, we had the main event with the new champ, Bilal. What did you think of his performance? That was pretty incredible.
I mean, I think everyone underestimated Bilal and just how good clearly training out with Khabib bloody played off, because he did absolutely amazing in terms of the wrestling. His boxing actually looked pretty decent as well. He was landing shots. Leon found it hard to sort of find his rhythm and timing in there, and yeah, obviously with the takedown and everything made it hard. I mean, Leon had some amazing scrambles. You got to give him credit for that, but you got to also give Bilal credit because he enforced his game plan throughout the 5 rounds. So fair play to him. And obviously in the co-main event, I mean, bloody hell.
Aspinall, 1 minute, right? I think that's how long it was. Yeah.
Tom couldn't really have asked for a better performance. I mean, I think he got clipped with maybe a glancing shot early, and then afterwards he just capitalized. And I know how hard that guy hits, and trust me, with 4-ounce gloves, not many people are taking a shot from him. So, and it was a perfectly placed jab. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, man. I mean, like I say, couldn't have went any better for him, and I'm very happy for him.
So obviously we're a couple of days removed from the fight. When do you want to get back in there? When would be sort of ideal timing for you?
Well, I kind of got to see, like, my leg's now actually feeling a lot better. Obviously, it was a little bit sore because I got kicked quite a lot in the leg. That actually feels okay. I'm probably going to be getting back into training next week. So, I'll just see how training's going and see how things are going, how I feel and everything. But I mean, I kind of feel pretty good. So, I mean, I'll see what my coaches say and what their thoughts are. But in my head, probably end of October seems like a good time to step back in there. But depending on, like I say, what my coaches say when I get back into training and what their views are, we'll sort of go from there.
Any opponents of mine, or you just kind of see what the landscape looks like come that time?
I actually called on a post-fight interview for Ovent St. Preux, but I see that he's booked a fight, or he's already got a fight booked. So that's right. Why I was thinking about the Abu Dhabi card in October to fight him, because veteran of the sport, like a legend of the sport as well. Fought some top guys. I thought that'd be a good test for me. Even Kennedy Zachukwu is a good fighter. That'd be another good fight to try and work my way up the ranks. Dominic Reyes is another highly experienced, highly talented guy. So there's a lot of choices in the division. I think light heavyweight has become a lot more stacked over the years. So and it's shaping to be quite a fun division. So there's a lot of fights out there. It's just a case of who they want to give me next. But ultimately, I just want to keep working my way slowly up the ranks.
And were you on a new contract for this fight? Because I think it's you've had 4 fights since you've been back, have you not?
Yeah. So this fight was the start of my new contract.
Awesome. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it was. So prior to this fight, I got the news that this fight would be part of the new deal, which is amazing. Which I was very grateful for. It shows that the UFC believe in me and stuff like that. And I'm glad that I was able to put on an entertaining performance as well. So that puts me into their good books a little bit more. And yeah, obviously more money and this and that. And obviously got to thank Jason and Iridium for sorting me out. Always looking out for me. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how things can change, and from where I was a couple years ago to where I am now is crazy. And like I say, I'm definitely feeling that trajectory going upwards. So everything's very exciting.
I want to ask you about a couple other fights, but before I do, I got to give a shout out to HKUSA.com. They have the great combat sports gear, clothing, accessories, etc. You can use Fight Bananas promo code Bananas20 for 20% off your order. Anyone watching this, just FYI. We got the big middleweight title fight coming up in a few weeks here. Israel Adesanya, Dricus du Plessis. I know you're not in that division, but curious your thoughts on that fight and how you think that might go.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. Because again, styles make fights. I mean, although Strickland beat Adesanya, Adesanya's got many things that makes him very dangerous. One thing that Duplessis probably has a prowess over all the other fighters is that his wrestling seems to be pretty solid. So I think that would be. I think that would be something that obviously I know Adesanya's probably going to be working on that, but that would be something that'll probably show him a bit of difficulties. But yeah, like Dricus it's sort of got a very like stiff, sort of like very explosive sort of way of doing things. In my opinion, though, just because of how slick Adesanya is, I do think he'll win his title back. Just because of how slick he moves, how good his takedown defense is, and stuff like this, and the low kicks and everything like this. I think that sort of very kind of stiff, like kickboxer style, might play towards Adesanya's favor. So
okay. Then we got that bantamweight title fight, Sean O'Malley and Merab, taking place at the Sphere. Who do you see winning that one?
That's a tough one. Judging by Sean's past performances, I've got to probably give it to Sean, just because, again, his range, his distance management, and stuff like this. It's very hard to take Sean down, as evident, obviously, against Aljamain Sterling. The only thing where I see where it could potentially go Merab's way is the fact that Peter Yan did handily take Sean down. So if he makes it a fight like that, I think it will go to Merab. But if he's able to keep it at sort of range, then it'll go to Sean. So, but if I'm thinking just how his trajectory has been going, you probably got to give it to Sean.
Benoit Saint Denis, lightweight fighter, just lost to Dustin Poirier. Is fighting Renato Moicano in the main event of that Paris card on September 28th. Who do you see winning that?
That's a great fight. I mean, Renato's had a great run. He's a hilarious guy as well. I mean, he's had a great run as of late. Did really well to come back against Turner, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, Benoit's a very tough dude. He's got very good grappling, but I don't know. I've got to go with Money Moicano.
Okay, and just two more quick ones. Aljamain Sterling's going to be fighting Movsar Evloev, sort of a big fight for the featherweight division. Who do you see winning that fight?
Yeah, Aljamain's going to be big up. I do think Movsar will probably take it. I think his wrestling seems to be a little bit. I think it'll be a little bit more effective, and with the striking as well. Like because Movsar did very well against obviously Arnold Allen and managed to neutralize parts of his striking. So I'll go with Movsar for that one.
And last one, they haven't booked it yet. It's going to happen though. Max Holloway, Ilia Topuria. Who's winning the featherweight title?
Oh, that is definitely a very tough one. Ilya's obviously got very good wrestling and he's got very good boxing, but I think again the range on Max and the volume that he puts out, I think he'll come out on top in that one.
Love it. Okay, now we're going to do some fun rapid fire questions that have nothing to do with fighting. So just whatever comes to mind, like one word answer, whatever comes to mind. There's no wrong answers here. Yeah. Who is your favorite athlete outside of combat sports?
Michael Jordan.
Favorite movie?
Oh, Superbad.
Love that choice, by the way. That's one of my favorites too. Favorite actor or actress?
Oh, favorite actor. Adam Sandler.
Favorite TV show?
Vikings.
Favorite comedian?
Favorite comedian? Do you know, I like Kevin Hart.
Favorite travel destination?
Australia.
Favorite cheat meal?
Got to be a cake.
Favorite animal?
Phoenix. It's not necessarily a realistic animal, but if we could say that, then
that's fine with me. I haven't heard that answer, so that's good. What is your hidden talent? We know you're good at fighting, but what else are you good at that maybe we don't know you're good at?
Hidden talent. I guess we could say gymnastics. I mean, I know many people probably thought I could do a backflip.
I'll take that. And last one, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Pet peeve? Smacking. It's got to be smacking. You know, when someone's eating and they just leave them out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super annoying. Before we go, what do you got planned the rest of the week? I know usually when you're in camp, you kind of neglect a lot of things. Or you get into a bunch of stuff. I know you're going to training next week, but this week, like, what are you taking care of? Oh, did I lose you? It's a great screen grab, though, nonetheless. We'll see if we get him back here. I still got you here. I can hear you a little bit. There we go. Got you back. You went out for a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, my bad, brother. Yeah.
Oh, no, don't worry. But it's all good. We're almost done here. I was just asking you what you got planned the rest of the week.
I'm just chilling, mate. I'm going to a spa on Thursday just to sort of just relax but I was like trying to think and plan to try and go on holiday maybe just for like a couple of days, but I don't know. My head's sort of in the game of fighting a little bit too much. I'm just taking it easy, basically. I want to get back into training. I want to get back to doing jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I'm kind of just, like I say, just taking it easy, maybe eating a little bit more food, resting, not really worrying about training so much, and then get myself amped up for next week, getting back into it full swing again.
And my last question, at the top of your division, obviously we have the champ, Alex Pereira. Some people would like to see him go to heavyweight and test himself against, your Tom Aspinalls and some of these guys. And then there's other people who want to see him fight Ankalaev because he's a pretty well-rounded fighter. Where do you sit just as someone who's in the division? What would you like to see next for Pereira?
Personally, I mean, yeah, a super fight is great with Tom Aspinall, but I do think Ankalaev deserves to have that shot. I think he's been waiting for long enough. He's beaten the top guys in the division. I do think he deserves to fight Pereira. And obviously, I think that would just be very interesting because not many people have tried to go for takedowns against Pereira. And obviously, Ankalaev's got that in his back burner. So, and that would be something that he'll, and he's a southpaw that can strike and wrestle. So those things, that to me is interesting. As someone who's in the division, I wouldn't want to see him go up until later on. You know what I mean? Now he needs to keep fighting the guys that are in the division or the new division that he's just went up to.
Yeah, I'm a merit guy too. I like to see, a little bit more title defenses before he starts talking, moving up a weight class. Yeah. But seems like the UFC's kind of on that page too. Modestas, thanks so much for doing this. Congratulations again on the victory. If there's anyone you'd like to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, just literally. So MODYB24 on Instagram, Baltic Gladiator on Twitter, Baltic Gladiator on TikTok as well. Obviously, just got to thank my dad. First and foremost, always an amazing guy, like always in my corner. BST Academy, Raymond, Sebastian, my training partner, Will Curry, who's going to be fighting on Contender Series. So look out for him. He's also been helping me out quite a lot. I've got Hodger Gracie's Prometheus Combat. Big shout out to Tom Aspinall and everyone at Aspinall BJJ, Andy Aspinall as well. Those guys took me in with open arms. Jamie Acton as well, strength and conditioning. Like there's a lot of guys that I can't even mention all of them, but everyone as part of that team, like I said, took me in with open arms, made me feel at home. Got some really good rounds, some really good experiences. And and Iridium Sports Agency for not only getting me a new contract, but always believing in me. Jason, you're the man. Everyone part of your team. Love you all. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool.